Good evening and welcome to our June 3rd, 2014 Ogden City Council meeting. Let the roll call reflect that all council members are present. And we have Mr. Olson in the back with the scout uniform on. Wondered if he would come up and lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Sorry we didn't give you a little warning. We were a little late today.
Did he pick that one?
Will the audience please stand? Repeat the Pledge of Allegiance after me.
I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands,
one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
The audience may be seated.
Thank you for that. We again apologize for a short notice. The next item on our agenda is a moment of silence, so if you would join with us in that. Thank you. Next item is the approval of minutes. First item is regular meeting of April 15th, 2014. Councilmember Garner.
Yes, Chair Heyer, I've reviewed those minutes and found them to be correct.
Thank you. And the study session of April 22nd, 2014. Councilmember Stevens.
Yes, Mr. Chair, I reviewed those minutes and they're correct, and I make a motion that we approve the minutes.
Second.
We have a motion by Councilmember Stevens, seconded by Councilmember Garner for approval of the minutes. This is a voice vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? That passes. Next item is our common consent agenda. Those are listed on your agenda. And did you want to say anything about that, Mr. Cook, or do you want me to go ahead and do that?
I can, yes,
Okay.
Thank you. So in the study session, there was discussion regarding the fee ordinance for Dinosaur Park. It was suggested that it be pulled from common consent and be pulled from the agenda and will be considered at a later date.
Okay, thank you.
Well, I will make a motion that we pull item 5C off of the items for common consent and off of the agenda.
I second it.
Okay, we have a motion by Councilmember Garner, seconded by Councilmember Stevens to remove item 5C from the agenda, from the common consent and the agenda. This is a voice vote.
You did it in one motion, is that okay?
Sorry.
Okay, this is a voice vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay.
And then I will go ahead and make a motion that we adopt the common consent items A, B, and D.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion by Vice Chair Gochner, seconded by Councilmember Blair to adopt common consent items A, B, and D. This is a voice vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, the next item is public hearing for fiscal year 2015 tentative budget. Mr. Cook, going to make a presentation for us.
Mr. Chair, members of council, and Mayor Caldwell, it's my privilege to present to you tonight the tentative budget for this fiscal year 2015 for the city, and provide an overview and then also some proposed changes.
Ever again.
Never on a Tuesday.
All right. Sorry about that. I'm sure Amy Sue is smiling. Somewhere in Clemson, South Carolina.
This is just job security for her.
It is. So your budget process, as you're aware, we're about halfway through, I guess. We just have a couple more weeks, a little more than halfway. So this is your consideration for adopting the redevelopment agency budget tonight, the municipal building authority budget, and then the tentative city budget. So this is the first of two public hearings on the city budget. The second will be on the 17th of June. There we go. So a summary from a revenue perspective, and I'm just going to go very high level for the overview. The grand details are all in the attachments that we provided. Property tax, that increase of 5.3% is not based on a tax increase. It's the growth that will be occurring. Sales tax and other taxes will be increasing, and the overall general fund will be increasing 1.9%. So that's as proposed by the mayor. From a fee perspective, we're removing then the dinosaur park fees, both the increases and the new, and they'll be considered later. So in the new tentative budget, you'll just have the planning fee increases and both for increases and for new fees. So there's a total of 20, and you've reviewed those in detail. So all the dinosaur park fees will be off the table for now. From a personnel perspective, there were 2 positions eliminated, 1 position added for a net reduction of 1 to 597 full-time positions. And from a wage and benefit perspective, as you know, there's a 3% merit increase, 1% cost of living. There was 1 position that was benchmarked, meaning it was changed, increased, and then the health increase of 3.7%, and all of the retirement cost increases are funded. So you can see all those numbers there, and then there were 10 positions that were reclassified. So that's what the proposal is. From a capital perspective, there's a total of almost $18 million in capital expenditures, $11.5 million just in the capital improvement plan itself. Business Depot Ogden has some, the airport, both about $400,000. The water utility is down by quite a bit, $4.8 million from this past year because of all the large projects that have been completed or in the works. And the sewer, $707,000. So that's the proposal for capital. The amendments that are proposed, and I'd like to mention that the council has the option of amending the tentative budget or just amending the final budget, or both. And this year, we're proposing that we amend the tentative budget, which you're considering tonight, at $3.2 million. So I'd like to summarize what those changes are. There's a Schedule A that has been attached, and actually there was a change in the resolution. I think, Glenn, maybe if you can review that after we finish, if you wouldn't mind, so that we ensure that your motion includes the Schedule A. So there were several changes. This is the summary. Total of $112,000 approximately for the general fund, $1.1 million in water fund, sewer fund $859,000, a slight reduction of $10,000 in the refuse fund, and then a major grants $1.1 million. So these are all changes that were identified through the review process after the budget was proposed. And there were some changes that were requested by the council. As you're aware, we interviewed all of the council members in January, and there were several things that you wanted to see in the budget. So these are amendments that are proposed. The council study account is one that money is actually being used in the current fiscal year, needs to be replenished. There's a citizen survey, which you have a legislative project to complete, so that's being funded. You also requested a new position, Water Conservation Project Coordinator, total of $100,000, and then the refuse rate study. The refuse fund is the only utility fund left that does not have a rate model, a financial and rate model completed. So this would complete that, and then all of them would have similar financial models that we can review each year. So then from a personnel perspective, with the amendments, it ends up being a net zero for 580 full-time employees. So 2 eliminated, 2 added. All of the utility funds align with the updated financial models. That's one of the things we were doing to ensure, and some of those changes are as a result of that review. And then also the Major Grants Fund, its changes were related to the annual action plan and aligning with that. So we do have alignment. So any additional changes that are made would be considered at that June 17th public hearing. And there will be some changes as you conclude your discussion, your deliberation, and then give us direction on what you'd like to see in the final budget. So that's my overview. I'd be happy to answer any questions that you have.
Any questions for Mr. Cook?
Thank you.
It went off very well.
Okay, just to quickly address that one last change. In the packet that we sent out on Friday, the attached Schedule A did not have one final change to it. If you look in the general fund section of the Schedule A, there's a change to the adjustment to general fund contingency. This is a change in the expenditure, and this is a negative expenditure. That number went from 100,000 to 50,000. And so the change of 50,000 then is reflected in the adjustment to the return to retained earnings account also of the 50,000. So that goes from 127,950 to 77,950. It's a net zero impact. All the total numbers are still the same. It's just that one last change that wasn't included in the packet that's since been updated. So if anybody clicks on the link now, it will reflect the correct Schedule A. And just as another note, I sent out an email earlier today. The resolution that was used to set the public hearing a couple of weeks ago or last month didn't have any language referring to Schedule A in it. So it was a minor tweak to the resolution itself, just including the language referring to the changes in Schedule A. So if a motion is made to approve the tentative budget, the suggestion is just to make sure there's a record of that, that we add the language, something to the effect of adopt the resolution with the changes as depicted in Schedule A. So having that last part as depicted in Schedule A, we'll put that on the record. Any questions?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, this is a public hearing. If anyone wishes to speak to the tentative budget, please come forward and give us your name and address. And limit your comments to 3 minutes. I can. I'll do a little better. This is a time to give your thoughts about the tentative budget. If you have comments you'd like to give, please come forward. Give us your name and address and limit your comments to 3 minutes.
And Mr. Chair, it's 5 minutes for these
5
public
minutes.
hearings.
Mine will be quick.
I stand corrected.
I'm doing this for the benefit of my Boy Scout son who's in the room.
Okay, great.
He was wondering, when the budget was being, when it was being gone over, there was a discussion about having an employee who does water conservation, project management. Did I see that? And it's $100,000. Is that annual salary for that position?
That's
loaded. That's with Benny's.
That's with benefits. So what does that person do?
I'm going to refer you to Mr. Johnson, I think is who maybe is best to
For the job
discuss that.
description.
If it's all right, I'm going to let Mr. Louder come up since he's here, and it's his department.
Perfect. And then I'll just go sit down and let my scout hear how it works.
Your scout asks really intelligent questions.
We're happy that he's curious. It's important to know what this position does. As we move into a new era where we as a city are built out, we're still experiencing developments of high density and so forth, where we're going to have increased numbers of people within our community. And it's important to note that as we move forward, we have a limited source of water at any given point, even though we have some of the best water rights in the area. And so as we move forward to cover the additional availability to our current residents and our future residents, we have to start conserving water. And this position will go in and start educating our public on programs that will not waste water, utilize water better, eventually maybe even reuse water, capture rainwater, and also do water audits for homes and their landscaping, both inside and outside, where we actually physically go out and let the homeowner know exactly how much water they're using, how much water they need to use, and the difference that they can save. And we know for a fact that a majority of all of us waste water. The problem is we do not know when and where we waste water. So this position will be a very intensive educational program, as well as an additional service to our residents. And as we move forward, they'll be publishing literature, information for the general public, and getting that information out, as well as looking at all the new technologies and all the new landscaping that's available within our own nurseries, within our own landscape companies, to where we can better utilize the resources that we have. And it will be very intensive, even though we are just taking the first step towards this. We have a long ways to go.
So, and to add one more thing, I think as a council, we have heard a lot of complaints from people who do not have secondary water since we've raised the rates, where they're putting culinary water in their yards. And I think we'd hope that this person can help those citizens save money by installing more water-wise landscaping and help beautify the community. So kind of a win-win situation for them.
Right, and that's what I meant by the audit of the landscape is to actually identify those types of things, as well as identify all the different areas in Ogden. If you look at Ogden as a whole, we have a bunch of different microclimates within Ogden. On the south end of Ogden, we have a lot of sand that some of our residents know that doesn't hold water very well. Well, there's steps that we can take as homeowners to increase the holding capacity of that sand so that you don't use as much water and you still have a green lawn. And I think those things everyone doesn't know about. And this position will save hundreds of thousands of gallons and hundreds of thousands of dollars of water in the future. So I think the important thing is to have this position so aggressive that it definitely pays for itself.
I think the key element is the education of the public and the residents of Ogden.
Yes, I think that is the key role of it. However, I think it is a neat service that we're about ready to offer, to have someone that can actually go out and visit with a homeowner and spend personal time with the homeowner to help them identify problems. That is something that I think is very valuable because it puts it on a personal level and it brings it home to the individual problem at that individual site.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else that wishes to address the council on this item?
I'm Don King, 144 East Dan Street, number 12. I agree that, we all need to conserve water some way or another. I guess my biggest concern is with the water is we have livestock to take care of. Okay, which comes from our water. We have, alfalfa we have to grow, hay we have to grow to help feed these animals. And right now, as much as everything's looking at, I've noticed such a big increase in your meat market, and yet there never seems to be any kind of a settlement because every time you turn around, they're higher and higher. And a lot of the general public is getting a little bit tighter with this stuff, okay, in our grocery markets. So I guess my biggest concern is maybe we need to see if we can't somehow find some property where we can put more water in, or where the weather may help us out a little bit more also. Now they got North Park City going up in Monte Crystal area. Okay, that's going to take a lot of water to pump up through there, and that high extension of all that water that they would have to use up in them hills is a lot of expense, and then you're also putting out a lot of water up there. I mean, I agree that we need to have the cash flow coming through and everything like that, but yet, how much is it costing for them to drill down in the mountainside and pump all this water up there that right now is just, it's very, I don't know how to say it. It's just not, there's not that much pressure up there. But yet they want to push this water thing and make a second Park City up in Monte Crystal. Okay? And right now I don't think that's feasible. And that's my own personal opinion. I'm not going to say it wouldn't be good later on, but I just don't think we have all that kind of water that we can push all that through.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else?
Hello. My name is William Bryant. I live at 2632 Gramercy Avenue. And I also was concerned about the water conservation. I think we're going to need to put a lot more focus on that. I agree with what the scout guide had to say about that. We need to have save rainwater and stuff like that. We need to not instead of just letting it run off of the pavements and into the gutters and out to the lake. Got to figure some way to keep the fresh water so we can use it. I don't know, when I was a young boy growing up, we had rain barrels. We'd catch the rain coming off the roof, and we'd use that for like washing and stuff like that. And I don't know much more I could say about that. There was one other thing I wanted to bring up, and it wasn't mentioned in the budget or anything here, but about the farmers market. I work with the farmers market as a volunteer under Dan.
I might just interject. There is some public comment time later in the meeting that might be more appropriate for that comment.
Okay.
All right.
Good. All right.
Sorry to interrupt
you. That's about all I had to say. There was another comment I was going to make, but I forgot what it was. I didn't write it down here. So Okay,
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, William.
Thank you.
Any other comments?
Seeing no movement, I'll make a motion to close the public hearing.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion by Vice Chair Gochner, seconded by Councilmember Blair to close public hearing. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay.
With that, I will go ahead and make a motion that we adopt proposed resolution 2014-14, the FY 2015 tentative budget,
Second.
with the changes depicted in Schedule A.
Second.
Second concurs. Okay, we have a motion by Councilmember Blair, seconded by Councilmember White, to adopt proposed resolution 2014-14 with Schedule A. And this is a roll call vote.
Councilmember Blair?
Aye.
Councilmember Garner?
Aye.
Councilmember Stevens?
Aye.
Councilmember White?
Aye.
Councilmember Wicks?
Aye.
Aye.
Mayor Hire?
Aye, that passes. Okay. Next item on the agenda is public comments. This is an opportunity to address the council regarding your concerns or ideas. Please state your name and address clearly for the record and limit your comments to 3 minutes. Now would be a good time.
My name again, and
It would be well, yes.
okay, it's William Bryant, 2632 Gramercy Avenue. I volunteer down at Ogden Arts, and I work with Cynthia Ulrich and Dan Musgrave and John Nicholas and some of the people down there that work with the farmers or with the farmers market and and amphitheater and stuff like that. And I guess Cynthia was talking about how the city had decided to extend the farmers market on down to like the Union Station and have more people fan out along 25th Street instead of moving it from a centralized location there in the park. And I don't know, it seems like the park location, I don't know if that's what you guys talked about or decided or anything. I didn't really get into any discussions with anybody there in the office about it. But the farmers market is a good thing here in Ogden, and I wouldn't want to see anything happen that would take away from the growth and the expansion and the turnout that people have been getting more and more involved with it by I don't know, turning it over to Downtown Ogden Inc. Or the Ogden 25th Street Historic Corporation or whatever that is down there. I think it's good for business for those little stores and that down through 25th Street and that. I just hope that we don't take too much away from the central park of it, like having the old tractors come in and display their thing and the horse coming in Sundance and all that and taking it away from the central focus of there in the park. I just think we ought to keep it focused in the central part of the park. And I don't know what else to say about that either, but I just kind of hope you guys take those things into consideration.
Thank you, Mr. Bryant.
Thanks, William.
Anyone else?
I'm thinking this is Virginia Hernandez Reza, 2427 Jefferson. I'm thinking this would be the last public comment, right? So I'm going as fast as I can. I am here because I was able to get a copy of the draft of the consolation plan for, is that F 2015? And I quickly went through it. I also got the other huge plan, went through that. My concerns, many. Okay, I'm going to go down the list of my concerns, and after I'm finished making this comment, these concerns, I want to know who I speak to. I'm thinking it would be someone in the community development department. I tried to talk to Ward Ogden, but he doesn't have time. He's very rude. And this previous administration treated me, who's represented the community, like that at first, Scott Brown and the others. And I told him, you do not do that, because came to the city council, try to get their attention to talk with the city community development department. And I said, you do not treat us that way. We're not peasants. And that's what Ogden Ward is making me feel like and treating me. Okay, besides that. This draft that I went through, I'm very familiar how it's done. So I got a lot of concerns here. Number one is page 4 is which people will be targeted for these opportunities. Page 8, the neighborhood revitalization strategy there is very interesting and many questions for me. Page 9, I will be requesting public information for the participation of citizens and the public comments. How was this done? Page 12, agency entity. Does that include Ward Ogden working under Tom? I cannot pronounce his name. He's the director.
Christopoulos, yeah.
Okay. I need to know that because before this mayor got in, sorry, Mayor, I need to be more polite. When he was hired, I did go talk to the community development, but our concerns of the previous, what we went through, the people, the community, and all that. And it wasn't Ward Ogden. It was another person there. I forgot his name. That works under Tom. Can't say his last name. I went and sat down with him with the concerns of the previous administration, community development, that we got factual information. We let him know, I let him know, listen to our concerns because we will. We're going to get on top of this if we're going to be neglected, not heard, and not informed properly. He was a very wonderful man. And I also know the lady there that does the funding, Fuentes. Okay, there's just so much. So I want this council people to know, and the mayor, this has to be looked at more closely. So could you let Ward Ogden know that we need to look at this?
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else?
Mike Ovison, 1208 North, 925 East. Since I'm here, I just thought I'd bring it up. I like to commute to work on my bike, and like the bike lane on Washington. It's not very long, though. Is there any further plans, or I guess I would like to state my support of, further bike friendliness in the city of Ogden? Mostly the roads are awesome, but I would always be in favor of more bike safetiness. So,
do we want to let?
Seeing that everyone's looking in my direction, I'm happy to answer that. We're right now undergoing a $100,000 master planning grant that the state gave us. So that'll give us a direction and a blueprint to work from as we make improvements over the next probably 10 years. So we expect it to be one of the more bicycling friendly communities. I'm right with you. I've ridden my bike to work every single day in 2014 so far as a way to help raise attention and awareness to that, and it's a huge priority. So you'll see some great improvements over the next couple of years.
Great. Good to hear. Thank you much.
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay, seeing no movement. Mayor?
A couple quick things. I wanted to publicly thank Larry Johnson, Camille Cook, and Lisa Stout for the budget that was presented. They spent many countless hours and burned the midnight oil putting that together. I think it's very detailed, and they were very committed to this process this year. We also had complete buy-in from our department directors as we went through 3 full days of retreats and priorities, and so I'd like to publicly thank them for their commitment to that as well. One other quick thing, school got out for the Ogden School District last Thursday. I'd like to thank all the teachers for the commitment they have to our kids, and I'd like to wish all the parents good luck this summer. So thank you very much.
Mayor, council members, any comments?
Maybe just a second with Laurie and Camille. Also, it was very refreshing to hear from so many employees of how happy they were of their interaction with the budget and the communication that came down to them, and that this has been the best in many, many years for them. And thank you for your efforts, and also thank you for making it simple for us to understand this big budget also.
Hear, hear. I second that. Any other comments?
So just so you know, the Girl State is here at Weber State for the first time in I don't know how many years, ever. And so we got to address 306 young women this morning, and it was just a fantastic time.
Thank you. All right.
Adjourn, if nobody has anything else.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion to adjourn by Councilmember Wicks, seconded by Vice Chair Guckner. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Just as a reminder, following this meeting, there will be a special Municipal Building Authority meeting, followed by a special redevelopment agency meeting.